All right. Hello, and thank you so much for joining me on the Warrenist Live. I'm your host, Crystal. If this is your first time tuning in on the show, let me just give you a brief summary of what we're all about. We celebrate the arts, culture, lifestyle, and people of Warren County, North Carolina, and beyond. Like I said, if this is your first time tuning in, hope you can follow us on the Warrenist on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. So, what can I say about our guest today? Um, Today we're joined by Jereann King Johnson and Mrs. Margaret Bullock of the Heritage Quilters. The Heritage Quilters is a diverse group of women and men from Warren County and Vance County who got together because of the art of quilting, and they also give back. So thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm a little nervous today because I'm like, I actually know these people and I've known y'all for years. So I'm like, well, what can I ask you? So, but I'm gonna get right on in. When did your interest in quilting start?
Well, I'll start first. When I was growing up, my mother quilted and my grandmother. And that was when I first, developed an interest in putting squares together and contributing to the making of my mother's quilts. And so I didn't pick it back up until the late 70s. And I've been, stuck on quilting ever since. So, and then Margaret and I met each other in
82, 83, 1983.
And
I was a family consumer science agent for the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. And I was a home economist, it's entitled home economist. And I had to provide educational programs for the community. And when I met Jerry or learned about Jerry, she was into tie-dyeing. So we had a group of kids that I wanted her to work with and showing them how to do tie-dyeing. And the relationship has been over 30 years now.
That's right. And we said then that we wanted to collect oral histories and we wanted to, get a quilt group together. But the Heritage Quilters really didn't come together until 2021.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I mean,
2001.
Right.
2001.
2001. We're celebrating our 21st year this year. Last year was our 20th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't get together and until then, and that was really because we just wanted to have a community of quilters here in Warren County and Vance County and Halifax County. And we knew that there was a lot of power in, quilting and making quilts. And when I say power, just a lot of passion, a way of bringing people together to share life stories and to teach other different things about quilting, because quilting is just loaded with so many messages about community and hope, and love for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how we got started 20 years ago with just a group of people in Warren and Vance counties, and we met at the Warren County Senior Citizen Center building. And the question was, to introduce yourself, or the prompt was to introduce yourself through quilts and quilting. And I remember Margaret bought her baby quilt, and some of the other members who were very advanced, they brought quilting projects. And I think I had a quilting project too. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the meeting, we were so excited after listening to everybody's stories and seeing everybody's beautiful work. We decided, the question was, do we want to continue? Mm-hmm. And the response was, yes, we want to continue. Mm-hmm. And so we have been together ever since, mm-hmm. And just love it. And, just love it.
Right. And then you also mentioned, about the community. And I want to expand on that as well. the Heritage Quilters is divided into, well, I don't want to say divided, but there's two components to the Heritage
Yeah.
Quilters. It's the Heritage Quilters and the Heritage Quilters Giving Circle. Can you share the details? What's the difference?
Yeah, we were invited, I think it probably was about 12 years ago now, between 12, 10 years. It took us a while by members of the Community Investment Network. And this network was made up of young African Americans interested in philanthropy. The leaders in that network had worked with traditional foundations and that provided grant funds for different, nonprofits and projects in North Carolina and in the South. And one thing that they had observed that the big foundations or the major foundations couldn't provide all of the resources that communities needed, that there was a role for small entrepreneurs or small groups of people to give in their community. And actually, a lot of the understanding there was knowing just how much Black people give in this country. I mean, through their churches, through sororities and different nonprofits, beginning to see the power that we have in our giving. So we deliberated for a long time trying to decide if we were going to join this network with other philanthropists around the South, or well, around the country, actually. And like I said, most of them were young, they were professionals, they had lots of disposable income that they could build their giving circles out with. Well, the thing that we had that nobody else had particularly was the quilting skill, and that was talent. And we could use that to generate money for our treasure. So their little theme was use your time, talent, and treasure. So we had plenty time and we had plenty talent. And so we didn't have a lot of treasure. We really didn't, but we jumped in, decided that, giving was what quilting was really all about. We jumped in and joined the Community Investment Network. So as a part of that giving, at one point we were able to support the summer youth programs at Warren County Training School by providing resources for them to do a field trip. We do like a scholarship once a year to a college going student from Vance or Warren counties. And that's primarily it. We give a lot of our time with the schools, with the kids. We work with fourth graders every other year, providing a math curriculum, helping them see how math is, the skill that we teach is like math, multiplication and addition as reciprocals of each other. And we have a lovely quilt made by the late Portia Hawes that we use to kind of demonstrate how multiplication and addition work hand in hand. And we like doing that. And anytime folk ask us to show quilts, we are there to show quilts, to do educational programs. In fact, we have one coming up this Saturday. We can talk later about that.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of work in the community.
Did you say the teacher tool?
Oh yeah, that's our main thing. And before I forget, we also provide books for the AKAs,
African-American reading.
the African-American reading. And the teacher tour is a really major contribution from the Heritage Quilters to this community. And it came about in 2008. Margaret and I, we were in the same study circle looking at success for children in Warren County, looking at issues of education. And so one of the things that we recognize that a lot of the teachers who come here through Teach for America or through the international program or from other places that are very different than Warren County, they really don't have a sense of our assets and our historical background, our economic situation, our cultural heritage. So we decided that one way we could address that would be to do like a day-long tour for new teachers and new school staff in Warren County. And we've been doing that for 11 years with the help of Warren County Education Fund and the Warren County schools. They provide the school bus, and it's actually now we've gotten to a point where the teacher tour is integral to the teacher orientation in the schools. So yeah.
Right. And so can you tell a little bit more about that, the new teacher tour, like what exactly is included, like the different stops, and what did you feel like you needed to share with the people that are coming to the community?
Well, I think the main thing, it's a interesting thing. We just want to make friends with the teachers. We want them to know us, just when they see us, to know that we're there to help them and support them. However, that is really the main thing about the teacher tour, to know that there are people here in the community who care about them and want to see them be successful. So we start out here lately. Well, we used to start out at different businesses. We would get different business owners to do like a little breakfast, continental breakfast. And at that, we have a chance to, do some introductions, learn where people are from, and, something unique about them. And then we walk from wherever we are downtown Warrenton to the Warren County Courthouse. We pass the Wortham Garden, which is a project of Preservation Warrenton, and talk about the role of African American business people in Warren County, like the Wortham family. They had a big goods store, department store like, and we passed that on our way to the courthouse. And in the courthouse, for years, Richard Hunter and now Lisa Blaylock, they give us a little background on the history of the courthouse. The fact that, it was rebuilt and, remodeled and so forth like that, and the different services that are provided in the courthouse. And that's really important when you're coming to a community and you don't know, so where do I go to get a passport, or where do I go to pay a ticket, a speeding ticket, or, if I need information on property, where do I go? So we have a real thorough tour of the courthouse with Ms. Alston. She takes us to she's the Register of Deeds. We look in the old vaults with the old deed books. We encourage teachers to think on the tour about what they see and how they can incorporate it into their lessons. So there's a kiosk there in the courthouse where they have leaders from the past. And so we look at Mansfield Thornton, who was the longest serving Register of Deeds. He was an African American, and we look at different people, important, who made contributions not only to Warren County, but to the state, like Johnny Hyman and Ms. Zeba Clayton and the Senator Carr. He's there, and some of the other prominent people from the county. So, and after we leave the courthouse, we come, of course, to the Hendrick House, which is our house that we lease from Warren County, and we love it. And we get a chance to show them about African-American family life from, the 19th century. And that really is the significance of this house. It is the home place of the Thanes, and later Aaron Hendrick, who married Alice Baker Fane Harris Hendrick. And he was a livery stable owner, and quite the prominent person during that time period, the 1870s, 1880s, 90s, and so forth. And we leave here, we go out Highway 1001, and we go to Soul City. And we have, and the reason we go down 1001, because we want the teachers to see the communities from which the kids come and kind of connect the communities the kids live in to the schools. So, we point out Marion Boyd is, right down the road here. We point out Warren County Memorial Library. We point out the community center and its significance to Warren County citizens, African American citizens. We point out the All Saints Church. Oh, we just, Hawkins School, which was, and then we finally end up in Soul City. And
there's plenty of stuff in the new teacher tour.
Okay, so we're just in the beginning. So let me go quick. After we leave Soul City with Jane Ballgroom and, one of the early residents, sometimes her daughter would, help us out. We leave there. We go through, we get on US 1. We stop at the Opera House, the Ridgeway Opera House. And there, Mr. Matt Nelson would share all of his wisdom about music, bluegrass, blues, gospel, tobacco growing, the origin of these different instruments. And then we go to Norlina on the old Indian Trail. And we go through, we point out Northside School, and then we go through the little community called Colortown in Norlina. Then we get on US 1 and head out toward Wise. And then we go to Warren County Training School. And there, the alumni in the training school, they have refreshments for us and give us the history of that school, which was established in 1922. They're celebrating their 100th year anniversary this year. And then, and that's always great. And then we leave Warren County Training School. We take a nap on the bus until we get out to Lake Gaston because, usually we're all worn out. And one of the things that Margaret would point out is how big of an industry trees are. Lumber in Warren County. And I remember one year you talked about that because we're going through all these back roads and there's nothing but trees and rabbits and deers.
Right.
And you have to take into consideration a lot of these teachers don't have a rural background and they're coming to a rural state. So it was important that we introduced them to the geographical area, like she said, that the children would be coming from, that they would be teaching. But we also wanted them to be aware of the entertainment aspect of what's here for you. And the lake, the lake is where they could go swimming, boating, fishing, or what have you. And Lake Gaston offered that for them. And then Lake View, what is it? Lake, the theater. Lakeland in Littleton. We wanted them to know from one end of the county to the other end of the county what's available. We even go to one of the wineries that we have coming back. But we have lunch at Lake Gaston at a restaurant, and they're told about the area there and who's residents there. Right.
So, and sometimes we have lunch at Buck Springs.
Which is a 4-H area. 4-H was developed through 4-H. So they could bring their children there for Ecology Day to learn about the plants that grow there, the different types of animals that live there, and or how stay in that particular area. And there's a baseball field, so they can play a little baseball too. But it's important that they felt comfortable enough when they come to an unfamiliar area, they feel comfortable enough to come back another year. We want your skills as a teacher, but we also while
That's
you're
right.
here. So one of our main efforts here was to make sure that our teachers come back to teach our children. They wouldn't have so many turnarounds with so many different people, because if they only came to Warrenton and went to the school and went back home, went to school, went back home, the next year they would leave.
Yeah, yeah.
They didn't see nothing offered for them as far as entertaining or having fun.
Yep, and that was our that was our charge, to how do we retain the teachers when they come to Warren County, and we wanted to show them that there were opportunities, like Margaret was saying, for entertainment. So when we leave the lake area, we go to Lake Gaston, and there, they are introduced to opportunities to work as volunteers in the community theater. There's entertainment, that they could partake in. They could go there for different shows and whatnot. So that, and the other thing, it was a school, because all through the tour, we're talking about schools, where schools were, where schools are now currently. And so we leave Lakeland, and well, the last 2 years that we have gone, John Duvall, who is the new artistic director there, has given us a tour of the facility. Right now, it's in a total state of remake, and it's going to be awesome when they complete that. So it'll be, and hopefully we can, take more teachers. Our new teacher tour that we hope to be able to do this year, we'll be able to take them there. But we leave there, and then we go down to the Bethlehem community, Halawasaponi community, and go to the charter school down there, just to let them know that there is that there's some cultural diversity in the county. And after we leave the Halawasaponi school, we take another nap and go down Rabbit Bottom Road, and we end up at Cherry Hill Plantation. And we think that that's also important, because so many of the teachers are not from the South, and they don't have a sense of, the economy in the South that was, based on plantation and the free labor of African Americans, of Black people. And so, what Mary Rayford has done over the years is she opens the house up and talks a little bit about how the house was built and what's there in the house. And lets the teachers just kind of roam around, see the different artifacts. Um, and we also talk about Inez, which is a community here in North Carolina, in Warren County. And, it being like a place where there were a lot of these plantations. And Mary Rayford is really, on their website, they have the names of the people who were enslaved there at Cherry Hill, and it offers the descendants of those people who were enslaved an opportunity to do like research. If it's genealogy, it helps them to be able to trace their heritage or their legacies or their roots back to that plantation. So Mary, lets the teachers know that there are some common surnames of students who may be Alstons or Kearneys or Williams or Davises that may have originated, from that area. And then and they also have a concert series. And so she talks about that and invites them, to come out on Sunday afternoons for the concerts. And then we get on the bus, come back to Warrenton. We pass by F&M Trailer Park. We come by the PCB dump. that route and talk about the history of that dump and why it's there and the resistance that Warren County residents put up to keep it from not being placed there. And then we come back to Warrenton and we do an evaluation and they go and set their classrooms up and get ready to
Work with the children.
work with the kids,
Right.
So it's
yeah.
it's a
I'm sorry, go
long
ahead.
day. No, it's a day long tour.
Yeah, it's a long day.
And we also have new school staff as well. New administrators or assistant principals, just new people. And one thing I will say is from time to time, we have had teachers who were born and reared here in Warren County on the tour. And, were pleasantly surprised to discover, a lot of the history and geography that they were not aware of, from the tour. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And so just as, part of the group, I've been on the tour a few times and I'm like, whoa, I didn't even know that. And I've been here the majority of my life, so it's definitely an integral part, whether the quilters play an integral part in, welcoming the new teachers, the new faculty members here. And I have heard from some teachers who have said that they have stayed because of that new teacher tour. So, and then just get a better understanding of the community they're in. Yep. Yeah. So let's get back on the topic of quilts. Okay. So let's guesstimate. How many quilts do you think you've made?
Let me get this right this time. Just this past year, during the pandemic, I completed 3 quilts. And in addition to that, I probably have done several more, but some have been wall hangings and the quilt I did for Stitching Life Stories and Stay Woke. I tried to, any project that the Heritage Quilters is involved in, I try to participate in. I don't think I've missed very many. Have all the challenge quilts the first, and I'm gonna tell you, when I got started, I was scared because being a family consumer science, everybody expects your work to be perfect, and mine was not. But I've learned over the years, and I've had some great people to work with in building up my skills of quilting. I make dresses. I can make dresses in a hot minute. But quilting, the first quilt I made was lopsided. And I don't even have it. I mean, I couldn't pull it straight or nothing. And that was when polyester was out. But I felt like belonging to this group would help me. It actually made a dream come true for me. My major was clothing and textiles and related arts. So it has made the dream of doing more in the arts, fabric art, come true. So I'm fulfilling my my major. I've taught clothing classes, worked with textiles and what have you, but quilting was something that I always wanted to do because of my mother and father, and the fact that my grandparents had quilts on the beds, quilts to the windows and everything. They never taught me how to put one together. That came from Miss Jereann. She taught me to put one together, because if she'd have left me alone and let me do it on my own, some people would freeze because I wouldn't have had that middle piece at all.
And I didn't have anything to do with that first quilt, the one that she was.
That was something I was trying on my own to see if I could do it that early. I had just finished high school. In between high school and going to college, I tried to take scraps from dresses that I made and try to put them together. And it didn't do too well.
I think I have made I don't know, maybe let's just say 20, maybe more, 25, 30.
This
Yeah.
year?
Oh no. Oh
No,
no.
no,
Oh no.
That's
No.
over the span of this 20 years.
Over
and
the
you
span of this 20
Okay.
years. Yeah.
probably did some more
Yeah.
before we got started.
Yeah. But yeah, I have lots of quilt tops that I still have not quilted. So, but yeah, I have made, and I love every quilt that I've made.
Yeah,
So.
that's it. You have a love for a finished product that
Mhm.
looks beautiful and can be used.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, but then when we think about quilts, it takes us back to like our grandmothers, our parents have had these big, thick quilts, right? And so, but now when you look more at quilts, this modern look, they're more art. It doesn't really follow that traditional pattern. So, in your opinion, like besides what I just said, well, how do you feel like quilting has changed over the years?
Well, I think that it's certainly more diverse techniques, and the gadgetry. I mean, I think the cutting board and the rotary cutter sort of revolutionized quilting. And so whereas you may have cut out one piece at a time 40, 50, 60 years ago, now you can cut out 8, 16 pieces at a time. And I think just in terms of the artistic styles, it has opened up to include different techniques like painting on fabric and then quilting it. And there's this thing called modern quilting, which there's a lot of debate about really how modern it is. Because even like the G's Ben Quilters, that's a famous group down in Wilcott County, Alabama. Their quilts have been, with big pieces of fabric and, very sparse details for a long time. And if anybody would look at them today, they would say, oh, these are modern quilts, but they were not modern quilts. But I don't know how people really define, what is a modern quilt, except that it is made, today. And,
it's more machine.
Yeah, I think,
more machine than
hand quilted, yeah.
Or
tacking, which is a tradition that was oftentimes used in African American quilt making experience. But I don't know, Crystal, that is a very interesting question. And I would say that that both modern quilting has elements of traditional quilting, and traditional quilting is taking on, new ways of presenting itself, or, like embroidery on quilts. And
the fact that some of the quilts that I've viewed that I'm very fascinated by those individuals who can take quilts and do pictures, take fabric and make people's face, have a face, have an image of individuals from fabric that they, self-portraits or portraits that were in a picture form and they put it in fabric form. And they're very colorful and that excites me. I wish I could do that, but it's going to take time.
Right.
I'm getting older now. I don't.
And see, I think the other thing about, like Margaret's talking about, like with images of people or places, things, I think that they kind of fall under that category of being narrative quilts. They are, telling a particular story. But every quilt tells a story. There's not one quilt that does not tell a story, because there's the fabric, there are the stitches, there are the quilt makers, And there's a story behind every quilt. There's not a quilt that does not tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
Even a one patch quilt tells a story. You know.
But yeah, while we're on the topic of like narrative quilts, and let's talk about this coming Saturday. Okay. So tell us about the quilt show that's coming up this Saturday.
Well, it's turning 20. We have those quilts were made to celebrate our 20th anniversary, and it's just a very well distributed pattern, a turning 20 pattern. But we took the pattern and did a particular spin on it. So we'll have those quilts. We'll have our Stitching Life, some of our Stitching Life Stories quilts. Margaret will have hers, and I know Belinda's going to have hers. Be Still My something lights. It's a beautiful, all of those pieces are beautiful. And Kathy will have hers. And then we will have more, just our favorite quilts. Mm-hmm. And so what we will do Saturday, the quilts will be hung in the library's community room, and the quilters will be there in a panel to talk about our quilting journeys and to talk about the particular quilts that, we brought to share. Mm-hmm. So, and some of the quilts have been shown before, but it'll be an opportunity for the audience and for people who attend to hear some of the backstory in making the quilt. Mm-hmm. So that should be interesting.
Right. I just wanted to, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say that even though it's been 20 years, I think it's been amazing what they have done with individuals who have been beginners and what those beginners have produced. They've produced some very professional looking quilts or presentations of wall hangings or whatever. But anyone who wishes to learn how to quilt, this is a group you need to seek out. Mm-hmm. So right. This presentation on Saturday will give those who have the urge to want to quilt to see us, talk to us, and maybe join us in the future.
Yeah.
So,
right. And again, I want to say the quilt show is this Saturday. It's May 7th, 11 a.m. at the Warrenton Memorial Library in Warrenton, North Carolina. And we just briefly, we talked about 20 years. Most groups don't last that long. I mean, let's be honest, right? So what would you say contribute to the longevity of the Heritage Quilters?
Love.
Yeah.
Love and respect.
Yeah. I think the love for the craft, but love for the individuals who do that same craft.
And respect in the sense that, we each are very different in our quilt journeys, but respecting where people are and learning from each other. I mean, I think the other thing we have survived because we have had challenges. I think like the Giving Circle, the decision to become a Giving Circle, could have easily killed this group, could have destroyed this group. We could have just broken right in half. But we were willing to stay in the room and in the conversation long enough to find our common interests and to make sense of, where we were trying to go. And so that kind of patience and listening to each other and trying to understand, that's what has kept us together. And love. Love for, quilts and quilting, and love for each other and respect for each other. I think that's it.
Okay. All right. So, but again, I want to repeat the show is this Saturday. It's the Heritage Quilters, Stitching Life Stories, Turning 20 and more. This Saturday, May 7th, at 11 a.m. at the Warrenton Memorial Library. So if anyone is interested in learning more about the Heritage Quilters, you can visit heritagequilters.net and also follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Is there anything else you would like to add today?
No, I think that's it.
That's
Thank you
it.
so much for this opportunity.
Mhm.
And we look forward to, seeing folk on Saturday and having a good time. I guess that's the other thing that keeps us together. We love to have fun.
Mhm. Yes.
Yes,
Stand
that
up.
is true. Bring up the music and sewing and making quilts all at the same time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been
Yeah.
there for
Yeah.
many of those occasions.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right, so thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes.
Thank you
thank
all
you.
for tuning in. To learn more about the Warrenist and everything that we have going on, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Um, have a wonderful, happy, and safe week. And to all the mothers, happy
Yeah.
Mother's Day. You
Thank you.
all are appreciated. So have a
Yes. Yes.
wonderful day. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.
Thank you. Mhm.